The grounding of Boeing's 737 MAX 9 airplane may cause some indirect issues for Canadian travelers as airlines cancel flights due to planes temporarily barred from takeoff. Now, no Canadian airlines operate the MAX 9, but WestJet and Air Canada have partnerships with Alaska Airlines and United Airlines, which include the narrow-body jets among their fleets. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration grounded the MAX 9 after part of the fuselage tore away from an Alaska Airlines plane Friday, leaving a gaping hole in the side of the cabin and prompting an emergency landing. Joining us now is John Gradek, aviation expert, lecturer, and coordinator of the Aviation Management Program at McGill. John, thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure.
So we know that there are over 200 MAX 9s in operation globally. We know that Canadian airlines don't use those planes, but how exposed exactly are Canadian airlines to the grounding of the MAX 9 because of their partnerships?
The partnerships that we have in place are commercial partnerships so that you can, in fact, book a flight from Canada to a U.S. point, connect to either Alaska if you're flying on WestJet or Air Canada on United. So it's a commercial relationship. There's no operating constraint. So if you have a flight that's booked on an Air Canada or WestJet flight connecting to either Alaska or United, I would check with your travel agency and to validate whether that flight is still in place.
And this isn't the first issue Boeing has had. It feels a little bit like deja vu. It had plane issues recently with the MCAS system years ago. That was another major story. Is Boeing an outlier here in terms of safety issues?
The MAX has got what I would call, Schroeder's black cloud in the Peanuts series, hanging over it. This is the fourth major incident that we've had with the MAX airplanes, not necessarily the MAX 9, but the MCAS situation, as you said, 2018, 2019, absolutely catastrophic, tragic. We've had a number of incidents this past 12 months with, bolt issues on the rudder of the airplane. We've had issues with the engine icing issue on the MAX airplanes, and now this panel that comes off the airplane. So the MAX has had some troubled history. And the question now is, what is Boeing going to say and what's Boeing going to do to reassure both the airlines and, of course, the traveling public that it is safe to fly on a MAX airplane?
And for the Alaska Airlines blowout that just happened, we know that these are extraordinarily rare, but what do we know so far about how or why this actually took place?
Well, we were very lucky with this airplane. The airplane was cruising, was going to cruise altitude. It was at 16,000 feet, 4 minutes out of Portland Airport. Everybody was buckled in. Seatbelts were fastened. Nobody was saying anything. The lights were, the seatbelt sight was on, and then the panel blew out. And it really was an explosive decompression on board the airplane. People felt like as if it was a bomb on board the airplane. So everybody, anxiety levels shot off the clock. People were thinking of dying. People were writing, texts to their relatives saying goodbye. Nobody knew what was going on. So that first minute on board that airplane at that incident was traumatic. And so we have psychological issues and pain and suffering with those passengers on board the airplane. So it is a very extraordinary event. If this plug had left the airplane at 30,000 feet, people were walking around the airplane, seatbelts unfastened, we would be talking a much more tragic consequence of this airplane's path. So we lucked out, and hopefully this is a rare event that Boeing can reassure us that it's never going to happen again.
And in terms of it never happening again, can you walk us through the investigation that needs to happen now to get exactly to the bottom of this?
The NTSB is very active. You can see from the press conferences that are going on, the inspections being mandated by United and by Alaska. No stone will be unturned to find out what is the root cause of this incident, and action will have to be taken by both Boeing and by the carriers to make sure that action is taken accordingly.
And what specifically should travelers keep in mind when they're booking travel? You mentioned obviously checking to see if a MAX 9 is somewhat included in their route with the U.S., but could that extend internationally to international airlines who may have the MAX 9 in operation?
Yeah, there are a few. Copa and Aeromexico are the ones that come to mind in Mexico. But in general, Boeing is a very safe carrier, a very safe manufacturer, a very safe airplane operator. So I would not worry about flying on a Boeing airplane.
Thank you very much, John. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Have a good day.